the problem that we have as white people or as people who support white people is that white people have a ideological problem due to the nature of society to where they have a really hard time advocating for themselves, right? Because they view advocating for themselves as a form of a negative thing. So it's like they're very afraid to use the phrase white supremacy, white nationalism, when really, if you think about the rudimentary definition of like what white nationalism means, it means a nation that looks out for, like a white nation that looks out for its own people. But they happen to believe the lies that we've always been multicultural, we've always been multi-ethnic, which none of these things are true, right? They're not true. They're not true. Like even the United States had a hard time even integrating the Irish, but yet they're still British. They're not British. I guess they kind of are, but they may not see themselves as such. But you know, they're still heavily related to the English. We really were just like an English, you know, we're an English country. That's really what we are. We're English. I'm half English. And, you know, there was a problem with my German family and the English, you know, and there was problems back then too. But the Anglo-Saxon, as you'd call them, you know, like the sort of what we've become. But never once, you know, were we ever very much an Eastern European country. We were not a, you know, particularly a French country. We do have some French towns. The French ended up settling more up in Canada, right? They have their colonies. And we kicked the Spanish out, and we were not a Mexican country because we got Mexico after it was only Mexican land for a few years, and I think it was like what, just a couple years or something like that. They had the land, and then we kicked the Spanish out down here in southern Florida. So in reality, we are a conquering nation, and especially Western Europe, people are starting to realize that this like idea of like we can't advocate for white people probably isn't going to work, and we're probably gonna have to just start making it a racial issue. That's sort of what people are noticing. And the reason why I bring this up is because the organizers of this march allowed the NSN to speak, who are white advocates, and like a lot of people, aka Avi. Dude, could you believe that? Did you see that with Avi Yemeni? Avi's like, they don't represent us. Like, who's us, dude? You're an Israeli. Like. No, he's like, these are real Australians, and he interviews Africans.
No.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, I also saw something too where he was saying that like pretty much when he felt uncomfortable, when he felt that that he was being threatened as a Jewish person, then he has somewhere else to go, which is like, yeah, okay. Well, not every group of people has that luxury, unfortunately. We would have, but obviously things have gone in a very different direction over the last 100 years. And more specifically, more concisely, over the last 20, 30 years, it's gotten particularly worse. But I mean, yeah, English people couldn't go back to. Actually, I saw some girl on a Twitter today talking about this, but she always dreamed to go to London, and then when she went to London, now it's just completely overrun by all kinds of migrants from North Africa, the Arab world, or whatever. So. Yeah, we don't have the same luxury, but Avi's kind of taking it for granted because, I mean, to be honest, his people are parasites. They want to extract from the host and then give nothing back.
Yeah, so. Well, and that's why you ever notice that's why he's the gatekeeper there. That's why he was so threatened when I was there because, you know, again, he did really good work during COVID, but you know, that's what they do. They'll do good work on transgender issues. They'll do good work on COVID while they're causing COVID.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
And where does transgender comes from?
Yeah, exactly. From the Talmud. So it's like they'll be like helping support you. They'll give you like throw you a Shabbos Jew, you know, to come help you. Meanwhile, they're the ones literally causing the issue. And like look what the Muslims are that were brought into Germany. Listen to this. Check this out. These are the people that, you know, Avi's complaining about when it's like, hey buddy, you're the reason why these people are here. Watch.
Die sagen, ich will hier keine Scharia in Deutschland. Das ist Schwachsinn. Jeder, der sich
den Islam verändern. Du bist für authentischen Islam, so wie er ist.
Jeder, der sich als Muslim bezeichnet, muss die Scharia wollen auf der ganzen Welt. Ich will die Scharia in Deutschland auf jeden Fall.
Würdest du die deutsche Verfassung aushebeln, wenn du die Gelegenheit hättest?
Auf jeden Fall.
Okay, danke.
Wie zum Beispiel? Wie könnte man jetzt aus Deutschland einen islamischen Staat machen? Wie zum Beispiel?
Laut den Werken ist das so, dass man, wenn man in der Mehrheit ist, wie Sie auch erklärt haben, sind wir dafür befohlen, Deutschland einzunehmen, auf jeden Fall.
Also es ist das ist eine islamische Pflicht, auch Deutschland einzunehmen.
Auf jeden Fall.
Ich respektiere deine Ehrlichkeit und du bist ja gegen die Liberalen, die jetzt sagen, nein, das stimmt nicht und wir sollen hier in Frieden leben.
Muslime zu sein. Warum?
Es ist eine Auseinandersetzung, wir oder ihr. Entweder ihr übernimmt uns oder wir euch.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Und darum gibt es diesen liberalen Islam. Gibt's auch.
Gibt es eine Unterscheidung politischer Islam und anderer Islam?
bin ich jetzt im politischen Islam, wenn ich sage, ich will die Scharia, dann...
Nein, ich meine, Islam ist doch in alle Lebensbereiche. Kannst du sagen, Islam hat in Politik nichts zu tun?
Gar keinen Fall.
Das ist Kufr oder nicht?
Natürlich.
Und wenn
Yeah, Islam doesn't assimilate, it only expands. So these guys will invite these people in who hate us, by the way. And then I want to remind you guys, if you're just watching this, they're here because of Israel's wars and the wars we fight for Israel. And then people like the NSN will come out and they will explain that we need to return back to our greatness. Here's a great edit of what we need to return to. Pax Americana, kind of reminds us of our heritage, right? We see images of who our people were. Love these retro edits.
it's like a classic video game music.
I know. Yeah, exactly. So what happened is a bunch of Europeans who didn't want to live under authoritarian rule and wanted to kind of restart with some, I would say some form of democratic liberalism in some ways. In some ways, it was more authoritarian in a lot of ways. It was a representative republic. Came in with some of these classical ideals. Did they get everything right? No. But definitely not giving women and blacks the right to vote. I mean, it might sound kind of extreme, but what good has come from that? And that's a real good question.
Yeah.
I'm not making the claim that it was a bad thing. I'm just asking you, tell me what good came from it, right? So I'm going to put it in people's terms. People tell me it's such a good thing, right? These amendments are so good. So then what good came from it? And then quite frankly, once we desegregated and forced integration, what good came from that? What good has come from living around black people? Now, you could be like, wow, you're being so derogatory and racist. I didn't even say it was a bad thing. Now, I did lose my car this last Sunday.
Yeah.
I got my gun stolen, thankfully. You know what I mean? Like, it was great. You know what I mean? It's great so that my fucking deodorant can be locked up in a case with behind glass, like it's a bank or something like that. Even my banks have to have bulletproof glass too. It's like, what good? I'm asking you. It's such a good idea. The way we changed what our founding fathers wanted, because Avi's saying what the National Socialists want is to return back to the founding of Australia. If you look at the Australia and the United States, same thing. White Australia policy. America had its policies to exclude women, non-land owning men, basically non-lazy, non-pedigreed men from taking part in this republic. It wasn't a democracy, and now we've changed it. And what good has come from it? Because last time I checked, the only areas that you want to live in are the areas where there is no integration with blacks and where white men still hold the power.
Yeah.